Hello, small human babies. How are you doing today? I, as always, am lovely. Anyway, this is in case you missed American history for Thursday, January 21st. And although Deadpool is face palming, that has nothing to do with you. If you are watching this, that means you probably couldn't make it to class today for some reason, and that is okay. And I hope you're well, and I hope those around you are well, and I hope that hope the sunshine is warm coming through your window. That's going to sound lame, but man, I'm sitting here staring out my two classroom windows, and it actually looks decent today, man. It looks decent. Yesterday was windy and cold. Today it looks like a day you could maybe go outside and do something. Good pair of gloves, hat, things like that. But that's not what you came here for, to hear me philosophize about the weather and nature and stuff. So I'm going to run you guys through what we did today. And as always, if you have any questions, please make sure and ask. Now, your reminders, first and foremost, right at the beginning here every day, that you do have an assignment called Progressive Sweep the Nation that is due Friday, or whenever you're watching this. If you're watching this today, it's tomorrow, but it's due Friday by midnight. Again, and always, if you have any questions, you can come and visit me during my half hour of office hours from 1 to 1:30. That link is in your classroom rules and expectations doc. Or you could just message me, chat me, video call me, whatever, and I can help you out with whatever you may be stuck on. Ooh, you can see how my cabinet needs to be organized behind me. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Okay. The other thing I wanted to tell you guys is that looks like according to the calendar, we're doing a STAR test next Tuesday. I think second hour we have readings. If you're in my 2A history class, I'll be giving you a reading test. And then I think the math test is Thursday, third hour. Don't quote me on the hours yet, but I know on the calendar it says we're doing STAR on Tuesday and Thursday. So be prepared for those. Well, you can't really prepare for those so much. Okay. On the topic of in the news today, one of the things, the inauguration was obviously yesterday. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. One of the things, or a couple of things I thought were interesting about the inauguration, the speeches are always good. They write a very fancy special speech and they have people read it over and, make sure it's going to be awesome. But some of the things that I thought were kind of cool. I thought the music was really good. I know you're going to be like, see, it was a presidential and vice presidential inauguration and you care about the music. Well, I thought that I'm not a huge fan of any of those people. Gaga, J-Lo, and I think Garth Brooks did something. And I thought they all were phenomenal. And I don't know if that's like pre-recorded or if that's like live, but I thought they sounded good. But the thing that really stood out to me was this youth poet laureate named Amanda Gorman. The poem that she wrote, I thought was really, really good. And I thought she did a really good job, like reading it, delivering it. I mean, since you guys are all, ninth graders are all poets, since your spoken word poems and recordings, I thought maybe if you didn't get a chance to see that, you could probably look it up, or you could Google the poem and read the poem. I thought it was kind of good. I really liked it, and I'm not a poetry person. So today's topics for discussion are why did the progressive era happen? And then I want to talk a little bit about the progressive problem-solving approach. We did some breakout rooms. I'm gonna invite you to look at the form that we filled out about the progressive problem-solving approach. I'm not necessarily going to make you do that. It's kind of a group thing, and I'm guessing you're by yourself watching this. And then if you have any time left in what you've allotted for American history today, please work on that assignment if you need to. Okay. All right, here we go. So, the progressive era, just a quick, why did it start when it started? First of all, it started around 1900 and it ended around 1915. Now, I hate to be so, inexact. A lot of times in historical eras, we have this is what started it and this is what ended it. Like World War I started when Serbia and Austria-Hungary declared war on each other because of the assassination of the Archduke of Austria-Hungary, and it ended with an armistice. The American part of World War II starts with Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941. It ends with the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, August 6th and August 9th, 1945. Bang, bang. Start, end. We know. Okay? Jump ball, final buzzer. Game's over. Progressive era, what started it? This and that, maybe it was about here, maybe it was about there. 1915, what ended? don't know, it's this and that. I don't know. All right. So they peg it about 1900 to 1915. But one of the reasons it was a perfect time for change is we had a lot of positive things going on, but we had a lot of not small problems, some were pretty big deal things. I mean, I suppose it depends on your perspective, but like women not having the right to vote, I think that's a pretty big deal thing. Maybe you're like, okay, racism. I'm like, big deal. Maybe you're like, all right, children working in factories. Maybe you're like, I'd love a job. Not like that, I don't think. Okay, so I think the reason why it was a perfect time for change is there's nothing like globally huge going on, or there's no Great Depression or World War or Civil War or energy crisis or anything happening this time period. So it's kind of like, hey, what can we do? Well, let's make the country a better place. Let's go. All right. So obviously, another reason why it might have happened is our nation is really growing at this point. I mean, we've discussed about 40, 45 years of history so far. And last year in 8th grade, if you were in Marshall 8th grade, you guys did everything leading up to that. And our country has grown. We've added territory. We've added people through immigration and different things. We have won wars. We've done things. We've invented things, that the rest of the world didn't have. And so that's great. But the problem is with growth comes problems. And if you think about it, I mean, I'll give you 2 good examples. If when you were younger, you grew really fast, you know that there's some problems associated with that. You knee and elbow and shoulder and hip pain, like, ow, man, why am I growing so fast? You can get stretch marks. You get like magically uncoordinated. You get like, my arms and my legs are longer than they were, and I do not know how to walk. Your clothes don't fit the way that they are supposed to. And generally, you have some problems. So yeah, it's great to grow. It's great to get taller. I mean, I don't know. I'd love to be 6'8", but I'm not. But there's also like some odd that goes along with it. And the other example would be, we live in this little town of Marshall, population right around 4,000, pretty much everybody, where everything is. But let's say you graduate from high school in 2024 and you leave town and you never come back. And in 2049, you open your mailbox, email, brain mail, whatever it is then, and you have an invitation to your 25th class reunion. And so you go, I'll go to that. I want to show up. I'm going to show off. I'm pretty awesome. So you fly into Madison, you rent a car, hover car, whatever it'll look like then. And you drive into Marshall and you see the sign says population 576,000. Marshall got a lot bigger. Are there going to be some problems? Is it going to be overcrowded? Is it going to be dirty? Is there going to be more crime? What are the schools going to look like? Is there going to be terrible traffic? Is there going to be homelessness? This little America is still going to be there. Okay, and so there's problems that come with growth. The issue is at the start of the progressive era, the government wasn't much help. And we've talked about why, but since you can't talk back to me when I ask questions, the government wasn't being super helpful because they were stuck following the people with the money, following what big business, following the power. Okay. And so the country turns to progressives, and progressives use their problem-solving approach to try to make the country a better place. Now, that problem-solving approach right here has kind of 5 steps to it. And if it doesn't work, maybe 6, it turns into an infinite loop. Okay. But what the progressives believed is that you use this plan that's part education, part scientific method, part journalism, like writing in newspapers and magazines and internet sites, not internet back then, but you get the idea, to solve problems. And so what they did is they wanted to identify a set of problems that society was dealing with. Okay. At that time, here's a partial list. You would have had like women's rights and women's rights to vote, racism, overcrowding in cities, sanitation, government corruption, child labor, labor laws, food quality, medicine quality. I could literally list a million. If you were doing this today, you'd talk about coronavirus, political divide, racial issues, unemployment, different countries we have problems with in the world. And what they would do is they'd investigate that problem. Now, what they would do, though, is you can't just say SEEP is a problem. I'm going to only investigate the reasons why SEEP sucks. You also have to investigate the reasons why SEEP is good. So you got to get SEEP is good, SEEP is bad. Because when you present the argument to people, you don't want to show a bias. You're investigating and educating. Kind of they go hand in hand. And so when you investigate, you have to investigate all the arguments and all the different sides to things. So like, for instance, with coronavirus, you could say, Let's talk masks, for instance. Is it a positive thing to wear masks? Is it a negative thing to wear masks? Should people wear masks sometimes, but not whatever? And so you would have to look at all the arguments, positive, negative, neutral, about masks and present all that information to people so they could decide, first of all, what do they think the right choice is? Do they want to get involved in the solution? And if so, how? Okay. Now, the thing about that education, it has to be without bias. So you can't say, I believe there should be masks, or I believe no one should wear a mask, or I believe blah, 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 because as soon as you do that, you're going to turn off people. We don't want to sit on the fence, but we want to give a full education look at it. The next thing is no politics, no Republican or Democrat, right or left, conservative or liberal, red or blue, elephant or donkey. You want to remove the politics and do just the facts. Just educate about what we know, what we can prove, okay? And then you let the people choose, like, how do they feel about this? Do they still want to get involved in this issue? How do they, given the information they've been given, what do they think the best outcome is? And then those progressives who focus on that try to figure out what they can do, and they make a change. And if that change works, yay, we solved the problem. Move on, go back and identify a new problem. If it doesn't work, though, you're going to return to step 2, and you're going to try to investigate, why didn't that work? What happened? Is there a new argument? Is there new data? Is there new science? And so you return to step 2. Okay. And they use that problem solving approach. And I'm not saying it's perfect, but I think that if you use this sometimes, it might actually work. I mean, it's like a CER in science, or the scientific method in science as well. Science is a very, like, I'm not going to say strict, but it is kind of a method that you follow to solve problems. Now, what we did in the breakout rooms, and you can look at the Google form that is probably below this post in Classroom, and see that what we did is I laid out 4 coronavirus related issues. And I had people then look up the pros and cons, like wear a mask, don't wear a mask, get a vaccine, don't get a vaccine, kids go back to school, kids don't go back to school. You need to have a shot to go to public events. You don't need to have a shot to go to public events. And they researched both sides of the argument, and then they talked in their groups, and they decided what they thought the answer to things is. If you want to, you can go in and pick out one of the 4 problems and try to do it. You're just going to have to do it by yourself, unless you can find a buddy who wasn't in class, and you can do it together. Now, if you have any questions about anything we talked about today, please make sure and reach out and contact me. I'd be more than happy to help you with whatever's going on, whether it be understanding something here or working on your assignment that's due on Friday. I think that's really it for today. Again, have a great day. Hope you're well, and I will see you soon.